UoP 256! Welcome to week 3! Yay, week 3. You have survived week 2. This is important and good. Alright, so this week you have a little bit of a chance to catch your breath. Okay? You've got essentially your discussions and your quizzes are this week. Now, if you owe me anything, and by the way, those timelines for those stay the same. Your discussion main response is due on Thursday. Please don't be late with that. Please remember this is college. Use paragraphs at a bare minimum. Please learn how to use formatting, but paragraphs at a bare minimum, okay? Now, your quizzes and your reading reviews. The reading review can be done multiple times, so have fun with it. I promise you the information is there, okay? Now, if you owe me something from last week, my purpose here is to make sure that you learn the material, all right? So if you are having trouble with last week's stuff, with the environmental impact of your food, okay, that presentation, and you didn't earn as many points as you want, put it that way, because we're all aiming for perfect scores, right? Right. Hard to get a perfect score, all right? I'm sorry to say it, it really is. But it is possible, all right? So I have gone and I am in the process of reviewing everything that you've done, okay? Now, if you've forgotten something, A, contact me, and B, let's work through it and get you to take this chance to improve your work, okay? So I want you to learn the material. Again, environmental impact of food means you're farming it here, then you're transporting whatever the thing is. It's being farmed here. If it's a living creature, it has to be transported to a slaughterhouse where it is killed and gutted and everything else. And there is a lot of waste associated with that. How many tons of waste? How many, by the way, before we get there, how many farms are there? Where are they located? How close are they to you? All right. Then, how close are they to the slaughterhouses? What happens to all the stuff that isn't sold in the supermarket? All right? There's gallons, there's hundreds and thousands of gallons of blood. What happens to that? There's feathers, there's hides. What happens to that material? How much of it is there? That's the slaughterhouse, okay? Then, think about the distribution center. That basically, how close are you to those nearest places? All right? Account for that transportation. Account for the footprint, the carbon footprint, basically, of that. Okay, so we've got like 2 to 3 places. And if you're dealing with a couple veggies, including that, well, how close are you to the farms? How close are you? How are those farms doing in terms of their water? A lot of where we grow our veggies are having droughts, or consequently also having floods. California, droughts, which is where a lot of our veggies come from. So account for that. That's an environmental impact of that. All right? So that's what I meant. Numbers. How big are the farms? How many farms are there? How many tons? How many, if you're thinking of vegetables, how many tons of pesticides are applied? Okay? That's the kind of information. Remember, science is quantifiable. That means numbers are vital. Now, I'm not saying create an Excel sheet and read us Excel numbers because that is boring beyond belief, all right? But numbers should be used like spices. You sprinkle them through, okay? And provide it. Oh, we've got, out of this one slaughterhouse, we've got 10,000 gallons of blood being needed to be disposed of every day. What do we do with that, all right? Tell us. Okay, that's part of environmental impact. How many accidents have they had? What happens when, like, on a feedlot or a factory farm for pork? What happens when the lagoons of pig waste, when it gets flooded and it enters the river? Okay, that's nearby because a lot of those are located near rivers. What happens to those rivers? What happens to the people that rely on fisheries or the communities that are downstream? What happens to them when just this flood of pig poop comes through their area? That's an environmental impact of a pork dish, and you should tell us about that. Okay. Now, please don't forget that this was also a narrated PowerPoint. All right, that is a vital aspect of your education and of your practice as an environmental scientist. If you're having trouble with it, there's ways around it. You can make a YouTube video like this. You can record yourself on your phone and just turn in your PowerPoint and just say next slide, next slide, next slide. Because that is, if you're doing a presentation and you don't control your deck, your computer, that's how you get the person that's sitting at the computer to move on to the next slide. So it's perfectly acceptable professional practice. Okay? So let me know. Again, I am here to work with you. I want to make sure that you learn the material. Again, environmental impacts, this was last week's stuff. If you need some help with it, let me know. Okay? Cheers.